Yo, what's going on, guys? Pastor Trades here. So today I'm going to be showing my trade recaps and the trades that I took today. So I trade on the 2000 tick chart for ES and 950 tick chart for the MES. So yeah, let's get to it. So the market started around here at 9:30. So what I trade normally are the two-legged pullbacks and the confirmation setups of the two-legged pullbacks. So yeah, that's what we'll be focusing on today. So the market is in a downtrend right now, and yeah, so the market opened lower than usual, and so right here we created a new low, and we have a first entry short, and then we have a second entry short that triggered on this red bar here, but we cannot take this because we can only take the second entries when the EMA was previously respected. So right here the EMA was not respected around this area, so we can't really take it because this is not a completely clear trend. However, it did make a good scalp. So yeah. So the way I trade using a negative reward risk to reward ratio, and it's 2 to 1, and it has a 89 to 91% win rate. So in the long run, you will be profitable. So yeah. So the market created a new low here, and we have a first entry short and a second entry short again. But this time, this signal bar is an inside bar, so we can't take this setup. So, and then the market started reversing and going back up. So we're trying to look for the second entries here. That's the setups that we're looking for right now. So the EMA is respected here. The EMA is respected here, and the EMA is also respected here. So at this point, we can start looking for the second entries, right? So we have a first entry long, and then we have a second entry long, but we cannot take the second entry long. Why? Because this signal bar here, this is the signal bar. This signal bar is below the EMA, so we cannot take the second entry long below the EMA, right? So the market goes down and then it goes back up again. So what are we looking for? This is a clear trend. So we have a trend going on here. So we have trend going on here. So the trend line rule states that there needs to be a break and a new extreme. So we're looking for a second entry long. So we have a first entry long here, and then we have a second entry long. But again, the signal bar is a bear bar, right? So we cannot take the setup because the signal bar is bad. So what do we wait for here? We wait for the confirmation setup of the second entry long. And we found it. So right here, this is a high probability setup, the higher low confirmation setup. Let me just mark it real quick. This is a higher low confirmation setup of the second entry long. And you want to go for 8 ticks here. I usually go for 8 ticks with a break even stop at 6 ticks. So the way I trade is I put my stop loss 1 tick below the signal bar, and I put my limit order in once this bar triggers above this high. So let me just get my, okay. So my signal bar here will be this blue line that I just drew. This blue horizontal line, this will be where my stop loss is. And I will put my limit order right here. And I will go for the 8 tick target profit. But if you guys traded live today and you already know this kind of trading style, you would know that the market moved on quickly without me. So I never had the time to get filled here. So that was quite unfortunate, and we have to wait for another high probability setup, right? So right now we're kind of like in a middle of like a mini trading range here, right? This mini trading range here. So that was something that I also had to keep in mind. So the market created a new extreme right here, and we're looking for, again, like a good setup. So a higher low confirmation setup would be good here. So we cannot take the second entry long because the market created a break and a new extreme. That's another rule that you have to remember. So we have a first entry long, and then we have a second entry long that triggered here on this green bar. And then we have a push above the EMA, the 21 EMA, and we have a higher low confirmation setup. So this setup I took personally. This is a setup that I took myself personally. However, this is a more aggressive setup because we are in the middle of a mini trading range here. So this is also a higher low confirmation setup, which I took for a 9 tick target profit. All right, so the market created a break and a new extreme here. And we want to look for the same thing. We want to look for a second entry long or a higher low confirmation setup, right? So the second entry long here triggered under a bear bar here, so we can't take this. And we cannot take this higher low here either, this bar here, because it doesn't confirm anything. It doesn't confirm a setup. It doesn't confirm a double trap. It doesn't confirm a second entry long. So we have to skip this higher low here. The market created a new extreme again, and we have a first entry long and a second entry long. But this second entry long right here, under this bull bar, we cannot go long here. Why? Because the EMA didn't hold here. The EMA didn't hold here, and it broke below the EMA. So we cannot take a second entry long below the EMA here. And then we have another first entry long, which created a new high. We have a first entry long and a second entry long again. Again, we cannot take a second entry long that's below the EMA. As you guys can see, this bull bar is below the EMA, so we can't take a second entry long here. Market goes down, but we don't have to worry about this. The overall sentiment of the market right now is bullish, so we have to worry about taking the long setups, right? So our bias is focused primarily on taking long setups here. So we're looking for a failed second entry short or a higher low confirmation setup of the failed second entry short here. We can take the opposite sides of the order. So the failed second entry short triggered on this bull bar, but we can't take it because again it's below the EMA. And you expect this downtrend to perhaps create a new extreme, a break in a new extreme, so we can't take it. And then we created a new extreme here. So again, we can't take the second entry long because the trend is not really that clear. Even though we are in an uptrend here, it's not really that clean, right? The EMA is not getting respected. Like for example here, the EMA was not respected and the market went down. So we're in a congestion area here. This area is an area of congestion here. And at this point, the market is just doing V-shaped reversals. So we have to be patient here. We cannot take any setups. And the market creates a new extreme. First entry long makes a double top here. There's congestion in this area, so we don't want to look for a setup in congestion. Market creates a new extreme again. EMA is not holding here, so we are not looking for a setup, right? We are not looking for a setup here. EMA is not getting held. The price is breaking below the EMA and breaking above the EMA without resistance. All right, so now we have something interesting, right? We have a first entry long and we have a second entry long again, but this is a bear bar, so we cannot take this setup because this is a bear bar. We have to be very picky about our setups so that we can have a high probability of winning. This is a bear bar, so we cannot take this setup here. This is a very aggressive setup if you took this, and this is also this is a congestion area here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars stacked next to each other. So again, EMA is not getting held here either, so we cannot look for a setup. So now you have something interesting here, right? You have a first entry long, pullback, and a second entry long. And this time the bar is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice green bull bar, but we cannot take this. Why? Because again, there is congestion here. This is a mini congestion. But also, previously the EMA did not hold, right? EMA did not hold here, EMA did not hold here or here. So there's not a clear trend. So we cannot take the second entry long. In this case, we have to wait for the high or low confirmation setup, right? So we're just biding our time here. And there's a first entry short pullback, second entry short failure. But as you guys can see, this setup never triggered because in order to take this failed second entry short here, you would need to have this bear bar trigger one tick above the signal bar, which never happened. So now we're just moving along. Nothing really important happening here. And it's getting too late for the market. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. This is my trading recap for the day. There were two high probability setups, honestly, and they occurred around the beginning of the day. I think this setup here was the best setup here, which I marked with a green arrow. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.